Hi, it's Lindy Royer here from Park Meadows Pilates. I'm here to bring you tip number 2 in our series of Pilates technique tips. So today we're going to talk about moving from the tip that I gave you last time, which was the head hover, and actually being able to flex the spine to go into a forward curl position. This is the position that you might use for a 100 or to begin a roll-up. So it's an important technique to learn. What we talked about last time is that as the head lifts, there must be a connection already established into the deeper part of the abdominals, into the core muscles. So the way that we establish that connection is to get it as the head is lifting, not once we've gone into the curl. I'll show you what I mean on the spine, and then I'll give you a quick demonstration. So here we have the spine. We're in essentially our natural spine position or neutral spine position with the head up here laying on the mat. So what we talked about last time was that the head can essentially just barely hover off the mat with the power coming from down here in the pelvis. Once we start to go into a curl, the muscles of the upper part of the neck tend to get really tense. So in order to avoid that and to keep the connection into the pelvis, what we want to do is really start to get this sense of curling through the upper part of the spine and not just try and pull the whole head forward with the neck. So if you look at it from the side, what essentially is happening is these muscles here through the upper part of the neck, especially in the front, get really tense. And what we want to do is have the muscles in the deepest part of the neck contracting, because obviously the head's coming off the floor, something has to work. So we want to be more deep in toward the front of the spine as we start to curl forward. And then the joints, the vertebra in the very upper part of the back, will start to move and curl forward with essentially no change in the lower back and the pelvis. So what that means is you are limited by the amount of motion that you have in the upper thoracic spine and into the middle part of the thoracic spine. So if you're stiff through here, you're not going to be able to curl very forward. So just be patient with yourself until you get that mobility. I'll show you what I mean. So here I am back in that head hover position. And notice as we start to move into a curl or a forward bend or a flexion position that there's a very strong tendency for the pelvis to start to tip. It's something that a lot of us have typically been taught to do. So I was taught in doing a curl or a sit-up to flatten my back. What we're going to do is see if we can maintain more of a balanced pelvic position as we discussed last time and still add the curl from the upper back. So it starts with the head hover, just as we did in session 1, floating the head barely up off the mat and establishing a connection into the pelvis and the abdominals. Then, as you exhale, start to curl through the upper back, keeping the sense of the head resting back into the hands. And then curling back down just to the head hover position. Notice as I do that the movement is through the upper spine and not from the pelvis and the neck. So what it will look like if we add head movement and pelvic movement is this. Compared to head staying in alignment with the top of the spine, pelvis staying in its neutral position, and just curling through the upper part of the spine. So again, if there's limited movement through these vertebrae in the upper part of the spine, you're not going to be able to curl as far forward no matter how hard you try. Keep working on this and you'll be able to do a roll up and a curl with much greater ease and a much better connection into your abdominals. I guarantee you that you'll get faster strength this way. I'll see you next time for another tip.